Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, you guys have known that I've already made a video about this a couple months ago, or a few months ago, basically giving my review of the movie and how I basically said that the movie did not deserve the backlash that it got. And I knew that video was going to explode to a certain degree, and I got a decent amount of comments in there, most of them negative, telling me I didn't know what the heck I was talking about, the movie is trash, and we should not go watch it. But me being an Indiana Jones fan for literally all my life, that was one of the movies I watched as a kid, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Um, I went to go watch the fifth one, and Dial of Destiny, from my point of view, is not one of the worst movies ever created. In fact, it was really good from my point of view. And yes, I know the scene where Phoebe Waller-Bridge says capitalism is basically the same as stealing, and don't get me wrong, that I completely disagree with what she says. Capitalism is not stealing, all right? Let's make that very clear. And what she says in that movie is completely wrong. And yes, maybe sometimes she's annoying, but that doesn't necessarily make the entire movie terrible, and we shouldn't go watch it because of that. I mean, look, from my point of view, this is Disney, and they're utterly and completely woke. And Kathleen Kennedy is in charge, so it's not something we can really avoid. And here, let me just say this also. Pretty much every movie studio or production studio is woke nowadays, and they're always going to try and sneak some woke propaganda or woke quote or woke ideology or something like that into our movies, TV shows, and even video games now. So it's not something we can really avoid. And look, I'm getting tired of it, and everybody else is getting tired of it too. But I wholeheartedly believe Indiana Jones 5 did not deserve this kind of backlash that it got. I mean, you scroll through YouTube, you could see dozens upon dozens of videos where people are just trashing this movie, that this movie sucked, it's nothing like an Indiana Jones movie should be, and nobody should go to watch this. But I personally thoroughly disagree. And this video is basically coming out once again in defense of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and it really hurt me that even, conservatives that I watch myself on YouTube, they even came out and told us, don't watch Indiana Jones 5. It's just woke garbage, and we shouldn't support this movie. And, I had to politely disagree with what they say. I'll put it that way. I went to watch Indiana Jones 5, and it is not a terrible movie. Story-wise, the whole idea of Indiana Jones trying to get this artifact from ex-Nazis who want to go back in time to change the outcome of World War II, it sounds awesome, and it was awesome. Granted, like I said in my previous Indiana Jones video, Harrison Ford is 80 years old, and so, of course, there wasn't as much action as the last one, but for his age, for what it was worth, it was a really good movie, and he did a phenomenal job. And I'm sure none of us are going to move as good as he does at his age. Now, you could say, oh, it's all CGI. Yes, that's true, but of course, there are some scenes where he actually has to act. And those scenes were done pretty well, in my opinion. Like I said, the story was great. Harrison Ford, he's the only person who can play Indiana Jones. And this movie had very nice visual effects, too. A lot of people complained about the CGI. I thought it was pretty good. And let's go back to the whole, this movie is trash because of the woke propaganda. And like I said, yes, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she is pretty woke in real life. And the scene where she says capitalism basically the same as stealing, it's not true. And I disagree with that. And yes, she can get a little annoying, but Indiana Jones 5 really does not deserve all the backlash that it has gotten. It really doesn't. This is not one of the worst movies that has ever been created in the history of mankind. There are plenty of other woke propaganda movies, probably 5 of them I can name off the top of my head right now if I wanted to, that have a clear woke propaganda. Avatar being one of them, and I know that may seem controversial because, that's probably one of the most popular movies ever created, but you can clearly see the propaganda they're trying to shove down our throats. Mankind is the destroyer of Earth. We're destroying nature, and these tree people, they're the saviors of nature, and mankind, he's just, greedy and corrupt, and he wants to destroy everything in his path. Yeah, I don't like watching a movie where I'm being preached on how evil and terrible I am as a human being. Yeah, sorry, that's not for me. That's clearly not the message that's being told to us in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So I really don't understand why so many people, especially even conservatives, really trash this movie. And like I said, for what it's worth, it is not a terrible movie. very few scenes where there are woke propaganda stuff in it, I can, for the most part, overlook that. And like I said, it's inevitable, it's gonna happen, so you really shouldn't trash this movie, especially if you haven't seen it yet. That's what kind of irritated me the most. People who are making comments saying, this movie is trash, I'm not gonna go watch it, and then they go into detail about that. It's like, if you haven't even seen this movie yet, how you know what it's all about, and you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, one of those things. So, and like I said, I was willing to give Harrison Ford and Disney the benefit of the doubt, and it turns out Indiana Jones 5 was really a good movie, and I really hate to see that movie tank the way it did, because it was such a decent movie. It was a decent ending to the whole Indiana Jones series, and really hurt me a little bit, I guess I could say, when I saw a bunch of people bashing it online, and even conservatives. So if you want my opinion, and this is just strictly my opinion alone, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, very solid movie. Not the best Indiana Jones out there, honestly, and that's to be expected. The original ones were obviously way better, but Indiana Jones 5, can overlook the small woke propaganda in that movie. It's going to be a nice, fun adventure the whole family's going to enjoy, no doubt. So go and watch it if you don't believe me.
It's not so much what you believe, it's how hard you believe it.